By the end of the 10 minutes, I have a full sheet of paper. Sometimes it's diagrams and blueprints and business strategies. It's everything that my brain was holding on to, I flushed. What's up, everyone? This is Jarvis, the Morning Hero. Today is probably the most requested topic that I get. You know, my specialty as the Morning Hero is helping people hit their goals and achieve their goals faster by equipping them and showing them a couple of simple, easy to do habits that if you do them every day, it will double your output, double your productivity, double your joy, fulfillment, happiness. It'll double anything that you'll produce by just implementing some of these few simple, easy to follow tricks. When I'm talking and consulting with people that's going to join the Morning Hero program, I always ask this one question: what's the biggest thing that you're struggling with right now? And by far, the number one thing that people struggle with is focus. People just find a hard time fighting through the minutia of the day to really zero in on what they should be doing that's most important. What's most effective use of their time? How do they prioritize and organize their day so that they get the most out of it? And so that's one of the things that I really help people understand, is how to really maximize their day. And it's through this way of becoming hyper-focused, not just focused, but hyper-focused on what's most important. So this isn't going to be about how to minimize your distractions, how to turn off all your notifications on your Snapchat and, insulate yourself from distractions. That's very surface level focus. I'm sure you hear it and you probably already know all the tricks you can do to try to minimize yourself, being able to block your time and protect yourself from being distracted. So this isn't going to touch on the surface level of focus. And that's where most people really zero in on. What you don't realize is that focus goes way deeper. So what I want to cover today is some of the deeper layers of focus, of why you can't focus, and how do you then turn that around so that you can become dialed in. When I think about this focus problem, let me just I do everything visually. So first I want to kind of show you my thoughts of how I think about this problem. But look at this. Well, this is just randomness, right? If I ask you what was this, you'd say that's just kind of, random frenzy, chaos. And this is how most people approach their day. When you immediately get up, you're already bombarded with, notifications and text messages and emails, tasks and obligations and responsibilities. And there's so much coming at you from every different direction. And so most people wake up into the frenzy of the day. And then, you're basically trying to fight this minutia all day long to get things done. I want to walk you through is to understand why you can't get things done, and then understand then how do you dial this down? How do you make sense of this to then be able to actually produce work? And not just produce work, but produce better work, the right work that's going to actually double your outcome, your performance. So if this is how you're entering your day, your chaos, your frenzy, you're frantic, you're unorganized, and yeah, you can fight this all day long. It's like you're running in mud. You can still make progress, but you're exhausted. You're tired, you're frustrated, you're tense and anxious, you're overwhelmed. This chaos is overwhelmed. This is what leads people to burnout. This is what leads people to overwhelm and giving up too soon, because they may be making progress, but they're taking a lot of effort to fight through the chaos to actually produce good work. If this is how you're waking up throughout the day, this is I call this like level 0 focus. You're approaching your day with frenzy and chaos. What are some of the other levels of focus? That goes and this is the surface level when I said, turning off your notifications and doing things like that. That just attacks the surface level. But I want to dial you into the deeper levels of focus. So, and if I think of focus, I want to think of focus like this. So if you imagine you have a funnel. At the top of this funnel, and if you know how funnels work, funnel takes something at a larger volume and it filters it down It doesn't necessarily filters it down, but it concentrates it down until it comes out into a small focused stream. That's the purpose of a funnel. So if I were to I'll call this the focus funnel. And now if I were to take this focus funnel, this is how you're starting off. Your objective is to go from the frenzy, the chaos of the day, to dialed in, high quality, we call this high impact actions. How do you take the day, the frenzy and chaos that you start off, that you immediately wake up into, and go through a process, a systematic process to focus and dialed in and get connected so that you're ultimately what I call extreme state of dialed in. This is dialed in. Now, when you get to dialed in, people that are dialed in, that can really focus on doing the things that matter most, the high impact actions, the things that's gonna push them the furthest and can follow through and execute. The people that are really dialed in, they're producing better work. They're getting more done in a shorter amount of time. They're less frenzied, less chaotic. They're less stressed and less worried. Essentially, people that are dialed in get more done with less time and less stress, right? It seems counterintuitive, but you really can actually get more done with less time and less stress. I call this done by noon. When you can get dialed in and really do your high impact actions and be very efficient, you can get to a point where you're done with your day before noon. Now imagine what that feels like. Imagine what it feels like to be done with your day before noon. How much time you have now. How much more time you have for family. How much more time you have for yourself to do the things that you need to do for yourself, for your own self-love and self-upkeep. Imagine what it feels like to be able to take a nap in the middle of the day, right? You've finished all your high impact actions. You've made progress. You've done so much that now you can actually take some time to dial it back in the middle of the day. Imagine what that feels like, right? You can do that, but you can't do that when you're running around busy, but not productive. And that's what this is. This is the chaos of the day. So I'm gonna walk you through this systematic process. It's a 4-step process. I call it the 4 C's of focus. It's the 4 C's of focus. The first step of the focus funnel is clarity. You have to get clear. You can't make sense of the frenzy, of the chaos. The first step is you gotta clear all that out, right? And I'm gonna show you what that looks like. After you get clear, you have to connect. Oftentimes, a lot of people lose focus because they are disconnected from their goals, from what they're striving for. So the next step of the focus funnel is to get connected. The next step after you get connected is then to prioritize, or what I call condense. There's so much you could be working on. How do you actually prioritize the things that matter most? And that's, you have to condense what you're working on, to condense your focus to just the few that matter most. And then the last step is calendar. Now you've condensed and you've got your high priority actions. How do you actually follow through and get those done? How do you make sure you minimize the minutia, the trivial stuff, so you can focus and put a higher priority on the things that you condensed? This is the 4 steps of the focus funnel. You walk through each of these steps, you get dialed in. I'll go through each step one by one. So the first step is clarity. How do you get clear? When you're waking up into the stress, the worry, the email, your obligations, your family, your responsibilities, the very first thing is you gotta take a step back. I always say, in order to run faster, the first step is to slow down. Get clear. Clear all that out. Flush all that out, right? And I do that through meditation. So I coach my members of my Morning Hero program on a particular style of meditation. I call it flow meditation. It's where you're essentially, I sit in front of my journal, a blank piece of paper, and I close my eyes, and for 10 minutes, I put in my earphones and I just listen to not a guided meditation, no one's talking, it's just this transient flow music. It really just kind of, it's like white noise. It blocks out the outer environment so that it forces you to go inward. So I sit there with my earphones in, and for 10 straight minutes, I just let the thoughts flow. The difference between this and normal meditation is that in normal meditation, your objective is to slow your mind down. You're actively focusing on your breath or a thought or a mantra so that you can tame your mind to slow it down. With the flow meditation that I encourage, is that you actually encourage your mind to flow. You encourage the thoughts to flow. And what you're doing is you're trying to flush, because they're all captured up here. Stress, anxiety, and worry and overwhelm is just your brain trying to hold on to thoughts and not forget it. So it's trying to hold on to so much. Imagine like, you're walking through a store and you're trying to hold on to all these items, and and next thing you know, things just start falling around. That's what your mind is trying to do. It's trying to hold on to so much that burdens you and weighs you down, and that creates stress and anxiety. So the first thing you do is you have to flush it out. Get it out so your brain can release it and not have to hold on to it. And so I clear my mind by sitting in front of a blank piece of paper with my journal. And I just, for 10 minutes, sit with my eyes closed and I just listen. I just listen to my thoughts go. I listen to the universe. I listen to my gut intuition, the little birdie, the Holy Spirit. I just sit there for 10 minutes and I listen. And everything that comes, I just write it down. I'm just writing down. I'm writing down everything. I'm letting all my thoughts flow from here, and I'm getting it out into the physical form, and I'm writing and I'm writing. By the end of the 10 minutes, I have a full sheet of paper. Sometimes it's diagrams and blueprints and business strategies. It's everything that my brain was holding on to. I flushed. I got it clear. The very first step to get out of the chaos and the clutter is you got to clear your mind. And so that requires at least 10 minutes of just sitting in silence and solitude, ideally with a sheet of paper and a pen, so that as things are coming to you, you can get it out and clear it out and capture it. That way, once it's captured, your brain doesn't feel like it has to hold on to it anymore, and you can release it. That's the first step of releasing anxiety and stress, is getting clear. So now I've cleared out, right? Now it's time to get back connected to my North Star. Your North Star is what you are working towards. It's your vision. It's your purpose of why you're waking up every day. What are the goals that you're trying to achieve? A lot of people, they have goals, they've got New Year's resolutions and they've got things that they're working towards, but 2-3 weeks pass by, a month pass by, and next thing you know, they're completely off track. And they don't realize that the things they're doing every day, they're doing random things every day. Those random things don't serve their greater goal. They've gotten disconnected from their North Star. Every day, if you've got a goal you're working on, you got to remind yourself every day. Remind yourself what you're working towards. That way, it filters your decisions. Immediately when you write down what you're working towards, it immediately gives you a sense of urgency of everything you're doing that day should be focused on that North Star, should be aligned with the goal that you set for yourself. So write it down. Every day, connect to your goals. And so if I go backwards a little bit, so this one was meditate. This one is write goals. And that's an everyday thing. Every day you need to connect to what you're working towards and why. Simple as to just write your goals. I have a journal, and on my journal, it has a section. It's the Hero Journal. Everyone on my program gets the Hero Journal. In this journal, it follows the exact format, but there's a section and it has your top 3 goals. Write them down. It's a magic that happens when you write your goals. Immediately, it deepens your sense of purpose in trying to achieve it, and immediately your brain will start firing off and brainstorm, okay, how can I get it today? How can I get it today? How can I get there today? So if your goal is doubling my number of customers this year, right? The minute I write that down, my brain immediately is like, okay, all right, what do I have to do today? What do I have to do today? What's gonna be the most important things that I have to get done today that's gonna push that goal forward? Writing that goal immediately deepens my sense of urgency for it, just from writing it and reminding myself of it. So I write the goal, and that will now filter out everything else that doesn't pertain to that goal. That now we get to the second layer of focus. So I've cleared out my head, and now I'm connecting to my goal, and my brain is now fixated on the actions that's gonna push that goal forward, right? So that's how you now focus your activity on the things that matter most, just from writing your goal. Now, your brain is very hyperactive, and it will always throw so much at you. Like my brain, at least my brain does, especially if I have a little espresso first thing in the morning, my brain is firing with activity. And so it's telling me, oh, you gotta do this and you gotta do that and you gotta work on this. And my brain is so ambitious, it's Throwing out, you're gonna come up with so many ideas and so many projects and things that you could work on and you could be doing. This is shiny object syndrome. This is where a lot of people lose focus now because they've connected to their goal, but there's so many things they could be doing. There's really only a few that make the biggest difference. This is where you have to understand the difference between being busy and actually being productive. There's so much you could be doing, but what are the few that you should be doing that matter the most? That's where you come in and you condense, right? Condensing is just a matter of prioritize your list. You have your list of your brain dumped at you, all these things you want to work on. You've got 20 different things you could be doing today, right? I would argue there's one that matters the most, but boil it down to your top 3. Come up with a top 3 that move the ball the furthest. And I challenge you, not busy work, not update this spreadsheet and print out these forms. No, the things that are gonna push that goal the furthest. Make 25 prospecting phone calls, send out your email marketing campaign, like the big heavy lifting items, not the busy work, not the trivial work, not the minutia, not the mundane things that your brain will always throw up at you. When you condense, if I were to ask you, if you could only do 3 things today, only do 3 things, which 3 would have the biggest impact on you hitting that goal? If you could only do 3, all right? Condense down to only 3. Now maybe you have time to do other things, but for this step, I'm challenging you just to come up with your 3, right? And then the last thing, now you've prioritized your top 3 things. You've kind of gotten clear, you've cleared out all the clutter out of your head, you've written your goals and connected to them. After you've connected to the goal, you've condensed it down to your top 3 things that push that goal forward. The most important step is this one right here. And this is where a lot of people drop the ball. I always say, what gets scheduled gets done. If you were to look at your calendar right now, everything on your calendar you do. You have doctor appointments, client appointments, picking the kids up from school or wherever they are. What gets scheduled gets done. Your calendar right now is filled with all of your important meetings, appointments, obligations, responsibilities. You don't miss them. They're non-negotiable. So if that's the case, up until this point in the process, we have gotten clear, we've connected to our goal, and we've condensed our list down to our top 3. Now, if these are really truly the most important things we have to get done, why not put them on that calendar just as if they're an appointment? The last piece, if you want to actually get things done and follow through on everything that's on your high priority list, your high impact actions, the best key to following through is to use your calendar and schedule all actions. All of these actions, schedule them and block them off as if they're appointments on your calendar. When you do that, you are 3 times more likely to actually get those things done. It's the difference of if I say, I'm gonna call my mom today. I need to call my mom today. Versus me saying, I'm gonna call my mom at 10 a.m. after I leave the dentist's office. The fact that I attached a time to it, I am 3 times more likely to do it. If these things are that important to you making progress, attach a time to each one of them. Essentially, you're putting them on your calendar, you're scheduling them. And just that act alone will increase your follow through and your productivity by 3 times. So that's the process right there. First step, meditate. 10 minutes of just uninterrupted time where you can go internal and flush and clear out all the minutia. Second step is connect to your goals. Write them down. That same journal. You've already had the journal sitting out in front of you from when you meditated. Now just write your goals, your top 3 goals you're focused on. Now prioritize. Condense that list from 20 items down to just your top 3 that are non-negotiable. You got to get those done in order to push your goals forward that day. And where the rubber meets the road, what gets scheduled gets done. Use your calendar. Don't use a to-do list. Use your calendar as your to-do list. Pull out your schedule and schedule each one of your actions. These are the 4 C's. The 4 C's of focus. Get clear. Connect. Condense. and then calendar. If you can follow these 4 C's, guaranteed, it will double your output, double your performance, double your productivity. Get clear every morning. This whole process takes me about 20 minutes or so. It takes me about 20 minutes to do this whole process. But when I do, and I do this every day, it makes me so much more impactful all day long. Again, I am done by noon. And then I have the rest of the day to myself, right? So that 20-minute block at the beginning of my day, that I take pause, that I take time for myself to do this process, empowers me to move so much faster all day long, right? So in order to do that, I wake up a little earlier. You know, I encourage you, wake up just 30 minutes earlier than you do right now so you can build in time to do this process before you leave the house. This should be the first thing you do. Before you deal with kids and responsibilities and everything else in your house, start with yourself. Start doing with this process first. When you start with yourself, you're able to pour that much more out to the rest of the world. So I encourage you to wake up a little earlier. Start with the 4 C's of focus. Get clear, connect to your goals, condense your list, and then put it on your calendar. Every day, you will be that much more effective. I promise you that. See you guys.